वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ॐ श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Hari Om Namaskar. The topic today: practicing yoga as a way of life. That's the overall topic for the entire 5 days. And today's topic, my topic, is yoga for being in tune with the infinite. Since I am the first speaker, I shall talk about this very important thing called way of life. If you ask people, what is dharma? Many people, when you ask them what is Sanatan Dharma or Hindu Dharma or something, they say, Hindu Dharma or Sanatan Dharma is not a religion, but it is a, what do they say? As though they know what it means. When you say, what do you mean by way of life? Oh, way of life means what? I must explain, Karan. You understand? It's just talked of as though way of, means what? What exactly do you understand by the word way of life, the phrase way of life? We say Sanatan Dharma is not a religion. And nowadays somehow there seems to be an allergy with the word religion, and therefore everyone, I've seen a lot of people, the so-called intellectual people, they say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Have you heard that before? And they take a lot of pride. And they say, I'm not religious. I am what? Spiritual. Whatever that means. If you ask them really, truly, what do you mean by not religious? That means I don't go to the temple. See, their understanding of religion being what? Not going to the temple. As being what? And if you go to the temple, you're religious. If you don't go to the temple, you understand? It's so superficial. It's so... Similarly, this phrase, what? It's not a religion, but it is what? A way of life. So what exactly do we mean by this phrase, way of life? Here we say yoga is what? A way of life. So let's understand this phrase a little more, and then we will go into the actual topic. Now, what is a product? A product is something that you buy and you sell and you resell. A product is something that you package and repackage and present. A product is something that you advertise. When you introduce it, it's like you do it with a bang. Now we are going to introduce a new... So what a big, you get a film actress and you get, all sorts of things. So that isn't it what you do? How do you introduce your products? A new car comes into the market with a bang. Is it true or not? हमारा लेटेस्ट को એપલનું શું કાઢ્યું? i6 તો બહુ જૂનું છે. Six S. And how did they do it? Oh, it was a worldwide. It's not an ordinary. It makes headlines all over the world. Everyone knows about it. So, a product is something which is, as you bring it out into the market, if it's a new product, and always everyone wants the word new. Isn't it true? What is your model? If you say, I have a BlackBerry. BlackBerry? You understand? And they look at you as though you are not untouchable, but you belong to those ancient, extinct dinosaurs, What? But it does the same function that I want, a phone. No. So, always there is the thick talk of what? Always a new product. We all are attracted to something which is new in the market. Whether it's tested or not tested, it's what? New. And that's what it makes it attractive, right? And if it's old, you reject it offhand without even thinking about it. It's old means it's bad, right? It's obsolete. It has no purpose anymore. It's not relevant. That's what we normally think as a product, right? If you see the way the products are this, when I was a kid, we used to have a soap called Lux. Are you aware of that? Is it still around? Yes. Then I remember, even as a kid, the Lux became Super Lux. Then, after some time, they changed the wrapper. Then they changed the shape. Then they changed the color. Then they didn't know what to change. Maybe the size. Then they didn't know what to change. They changed the model who was what? You understand? So this is how product is sold. It is marketed. It is bought. It is this. This. Now the question is what is a way of life? A way of life is not marketed. It cannot be bought. It cannot be sold. It cannot be resold. It can only be lived. Are you all understanding that? What? A product is used, but a way of life is what? Lived. What is your attitude towards a product? Please tell me. What are you looking for in a product? A product always sells what is called feel-good factor. Yes or no? That's what a product job is, what? To sell you what? Feel-good factor. If it does not sell you this feel-good factor, it's a failure. Agreed? You feel good? How do you like it? Oh, I feel so good. It sells. You feel awful? Terrible experience. So a product's job, end of the day, is to what? Whether it is a tire or a what? To anything, any product. Finally, it will tell you, if your tire is there, what a beautiful ride. Makes you feel good using it. Sometimes it may not be directly feel good, but you feel good that, oh God, everyone is going to see this and they say, oh, you use this product. I feel good, right? Someone gave me an iPhone 5. So then everyone, wow, Swamiji, you're cool. That's the first, long back. So that time the 6 had not come out. So that time when the 5, now they say, Swamiji, I think it is time you changed. But when that 5 was there and the 6 had not come out, they said what? Swamiji is what? Cool. That means what? I feel so good. I'm cool, Swami. You get this? Why? Because I've got a product which makes me feel good and cool. You're understanding? So way of life is not bought, is not sold. It is what? Lived. It's a way of looking at things. It's an attitude behind something. It's just what you do as your lifestyle. Not as a style, but as a lifestyle. You understand the difference between the two? Way of life is your what? Is your lifestyle. And the other is what? A style. A style comes, a style goes. It's a fad. It's a fashion. Isn't it true? So a product becomes a fashion statement. It becomes a fad. It becomes something which makes you feel good, appear good. Whereas a way of life is something completely different. Now, let's go a little further. America is a superpower. And I have a lot of admiration for that country. For various reasons. And one of the reasons which really fascinates me is the fact that China, Korea, and all these other countries sold their products to the world, but not their lifestyle. Is it a fact or not? Whereas America sold its lifestyle to the whole world with no exception, including India. Is it a fact or not? Think of it. The power in a country, the power of the country to be able to what? Sell its what? Lifestyle to not one country, not two countries, to the entire world. Anywhere in the world, doesn't matter where, if you say so-called advanced, when you use the word advanced, means what? They are living what lifestyle? Bolo bolo. Whether it is in Shanghai, or it is in Beijing, or it is in Timbuktu. Can be anywhere in the world. If you say that you are living an advanced, so-called advanced life or a lifestyle, it has to be what? Bolo. American. Now, I'll explain this to you. Why? I'll get to the topic. You're saying, Swamiji, all of a sudden American is We'll come to it. Don't worry. See, one of the things that America told the world is don't eat food, eat food products. What? What? Don't eat food, eat food products. So everything under the sun, they processed. And they gave it to you. So we don't eat corn, but we will eat corn flakes and call it healthy food. It's not a food, it's a food product. Remember, corn flakes cannot be, but whether it is bran, Swamiji, whole wheat bran, whole hoy ke half hoy. It doesn't matter if it is a processed food, it is a processed food. Corn flakes, and we call it healthy. And everyone says, no, Swamiji, I have a very healthy breakfast. What? Cornflakes, milk, and I put nuts also in it. Very good. Kya baat hai? They can make anything into this, the most healthy. Just recently someone gave me, what? Pomegranate seeds. Healthy, very healthy. they have chocolate flavored pomegranate seeds. બાપા પતી ગયું, pomegranate seed ની બધી વેલ્યુ ગઈ એમાં, અને એમાં ચોકલેટ નાખીને ના. So everything becomes what? Not a food but a food product. Now I was wondering for a long time, how do they manage to sell that? I mean, how do they do it? It's fantastic. I mean, if I'm an American, I'd be proud, you know, except that I'm not an American. And so I start thinking, you know, how did they do this? How did they achieve this amazing thing? And then I researched on that. My own way, not research the way they normally do. And I went recently to America. One of my purpose was to find out, what is this? How do they do this? And the answer hit me. So I can't really say I did research, but the answer hit me. And that is, they go with the words, the 3 words, research has said. What are the 3 words? Bolo. Research has said, and after that, anything can be sold. Anything. But they back it up with the words what? And they don't only say it, they actually do it as well. Whoever it is that does it, and they do research about anything and everything under the sun. They back up with, and this age is the age of thinking, is reason, and therefore it sells. Are you understanding? The present day, you use these 3 words, you've sold it to everyone. Because everyone will say what? It's a typical example. Most Indian ladies above 40 years start getting calcium deficiency. Yes? Even the men must be getting. I don't know about it. So then what do they tell you? You eat calcium. Then you say, okay, I'm eating calcium. Swamiji, are you eating only calcium? I said, but I've got calcium deficiency, so I must eat calcium. No, Swamiji, it should be with vitamin D. So I said, vitamin D, the Bhagwan gives. You don't need Bhagwan. No, that is not good. Research has said. Vitamin D will not get absorbed. Who says that? Research has said. It will not get absorbed. But Bhagwan gives so much in the school thi hame જાણ્યું છે કે vitamin D એટલે early morning, late evening, that sun rays. So okay, fine, I go for a morning. Nah, that will not do. Research has said. You have to completely expose your behind a product is only utility. What am I going to get out of it? So all relations also are becoming like that. Is it true or not? This is a common thing asked in every relationship. What am I getting out of it? What am I getting out of it? What am I? Morning to night, if you ask 1 hour you spend with your husband or wife and you say, what did I get out of it? Huh? And that is why they say quality time, quality time. Have you ever thought of this concept that was there something called quality time with the family? Because all time was what? Please tell me, quality time. Now I have to spend quality time with my... That also, spending time with your children and your family is becoming what? Is a product. It's like a, like something you have to do, like a this and all. Oh, we've spent quality time together. So rest of the time will be what? I hope you're all understanding what I'm speaking. So think about it. As far as we were concerned in India, yoga is not. And by the way, don't say yoga, yoga, yoga. Please, it's not yoga. The foreigners don't know how to pronounce and they say yoga, it's all right. But you and I should not say yoga. Okay? What is it? Yoga. Okay? Yoga ko ke yoga kaho. Yoga na bolcho. Please. They can't pronounce. Why can't we? I mean, we can pronounce. Why should we say yoga, yoga? Okay? Say yoga. Now, what do we mean by a way of life and what is that attitude that we are talking about behind this? Let me explain this to you. See, I'm really, really happy that Narendra Bhai Modi, the Prime Minister of India, has had an International Yoga Day. That made it it brought it in the front of the whole world. But as far as we are concerned, which is fantastic, what he's done is just great, and I hats off to him for doing that. But I'm trying to tell you is, he brought it for a reason so that it becomes of international fame. And we ourselves in our country start becoming more aware of what we have. We should be proud of it, everything. But as far as India is concerned, for us, as I said, yoga was not one day of celebration. Nowadays we have Earth Day, Pollution Day, Population Day. Now it's become what? Yoga Day. It should not become day, it should become a way of life. Have you understood that? It's not a day, it's a way of life. Please remember that. Now I'll explain to you this whole attitude. When you make it into just a day, I mean, what he has done is, I don't dispute what he's done, and I don't have this about it. I'm only admiration for what he's done. That's a great thing that he's done. But I'm saying in our mind, it should not become a day. That's all I'm saying. Now, for us, Earth Day was not a day. For us, every morning when I get up and I touch the earth, before I put my foot, I say what? Samudra vasane devi, parvatasthana mandale, Vishnu patni namastubhyam, padas parsham kshamaswame. This is my thought when I put my foot on this. Meaning what? I worship you. You are my support, and I shall not exploit you. I shall not do any harm to you, because you are Shamaswami. Now look at the attitude of this person towards Mother Earth. Unfortunately, now we do mechanically, but you go ahead and do it, whatever. You know, it's so mechanical. But if we have this attitude that, oh Mother Earth, I shall not exploit you in any way. I shall take care of you. And please forgive me. Now see, Sherpa Tenzing and Edmund Hillary, both of them climbed Mount Everest. Right? The first people to climb Mount Everest. What do you think Edmund Hillary did when he was on the top of the Mount Everest? He planted a flag of his country and he said the words, I have conquered Mount Everest. Are you aware of this? He said these words, I have conquered Mount Everest. And what do you think Sherpa Tenzing did? In Nepal, the word in this for Mount Everest is Sagar Devi. They call Sagar Devi. He went on the ground, put his head on the ground when he climbed Mount Everest, and he says, Oh Devi, forgive me for putting my foot on your head. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in the attitude. One says what? I have climbed Mount... You have climbed Mount Everest? Mount Everest allowed you to climb. If a few stones had gone, shifted from under the foot of Edmund Hillary, he would not be on the top. He would have been where? Or maybe higher than Mount Everest. I mean, Mount Everest allowed you to nature. This attitude, I have conquered nature. This attitude itself is what's causing all this. And now you say greenhouse effect and this effect and that effect and global warming, and you have to cut down your, this print and all that carbon print, all these things we say. But if this attitude itself is like that, how is it going to work? That same Edmund Hillary, years and years later, when he became a little more mature, said the words, it is not the mountain that I climbed, it is not the mountain that I conquered, it is my mind that I conquered. The same, when he became mature, these were the words he said. Now, this attitude of, person, that is what we say is the way of life. That Nepali did not have to be told. He did not do it for the sake of a commercial. He did not do it so that everyone would take it. He did it because, what? It was his way of life. Are you understanding that? He didn't do it for a photo shot. And nowadays, when people will go on the Mount Everest, what was the first thought they'll say? You're understanding. I'm talking about the way of life, and this is selfie. The first thing they think about is a selfie. It's interesting. I don't know, someone told me it's a very interesting fact also. Think. Says now the present generation has become a generation, of course, because it's product. All the time it's a product is all they use this. So their utility value, what am I getting out of it? What is it in the feel good factor? Everyone is just going after that. The way of life is a completely, what I said, no, American way of life. And what has happened? It's become the I generation has given rise to the I generation. What do you mean by that? I'll give a simple example to show you. All those who are above 40 years of age, you check out their mobile. Most of them, the screensaver, the one on the top, would be either of their children or very few of their spouses. They've realized by now that's not worth keeping. But the children will be there, or it will be of some gods. Or, if you see generation 60 years and above, it will be mostly some gods or something like that. Or it will be grandchildren or something like that. And check out the mobiles of all those who are below 20 years of age. 90% will be with them. Them and a friend. Them, is it true or not? Go check it out. Go to your children, go to your anyone and see, check it out. So what has happened is, what generation have we produced now? I generation. This is the result directly of what? Of using everything as a product. For me, product is always for me, right? In a way of life, there is others involved. Is it true or not? But a product is what? It's I-centered. A product is always I-centered. Therefore, it's sold to individuals. See, there are certain products which are sold to children. Certain products which are sold to, if you see the, channels, different channels. It's a kids channel, they'll sell a product in a particular way. There is a certain marketing done. Why? Because you have to sell it to a kid. And this is how you sell a thing to a... So, therefore, it's sold to a particular person. A way of life is not sold to a particular person because it's a way of life which is lived by the society, by the family, by everyone. Is it understood? You seeing the difference? So, therefore... what is yoga? What is dharma? Is it a product? Is culture a way of life or a product? Now we are commercializing even culture. Culture has become what? Its expressions as doing mehendi, wearing ghagra choli and doing garbaras. And all these three are commercialized products. Yes or no? And very hard, and so that's why I said, no, you trivialize it and you dilute it. That's what a product does. The minute you make it into a product, what do? You commercialize it, you trivialize it, and you dilute it. That's what happens. Okay? Okay, Swamiji, it's gone home. Understood. Yoga is not a product, it's a way of life. Now, having said that, what is yoga? We come to the word yoga itself. What is yoga? Yoga comes from the root, Sanskrit root yuj, to join, to connect. Okay, now, life is a painting. If you take this metaphor, life is a painting. Every stroke, every dot, every hue and color is like an experience in life, which makes the overall picture of life. Some experiences are like the background. If anyone is a painter, they know first they make a background, or what you call this watermark, the background. Some people come into our life for a reason. Some experiences are for a reason. Some stay with us for a season, and some are all season. Isn't it true? Experiences. Some hide one color with the other color. So some experience get hidden by other, overshadowed, overwhelmed. Some become the center point of our life. Some experience become. Nowadays, the only one that seems to become the big thing in the life is the marriage day, when you spend maximum money, isn't it? So, some big thing. Each one will have whatever they have, the central thing in their life. For some, certain experiences are, trivial, by the by. If you see a painting, there will be a main theme, and the others will be what? Just to add effect to it. Isn't it true? Now the paintings also, some are, if you see the painting, some of them, the colors and all the themes and everything, they are not even clear. They are not even like in focus. They have become like what? Something. Experiences are like that also. And some of them, they remain the thing. And some of them just disappear. They don't even, something in the background, they become hazy, they become undistinguished. Is it true or not? In your life, just check out what I'm talking about. But if you see a painting, then some paintings are masterpieces, right? Some are duplicate of masterpieces. Some of them are a dime a dozen. Kuch nahi hai. Hai nahi usme kuch. Is it true or not? Some lives are like that. Some lives are precious and rare, inspired and inspiring. And some of them, no commercial value, no value at all. Right? Some of them are gaudy. Some of them are good. Okay. Now think. We're talking about our lives, huh? When we see a painting, sometimes we appreciate it, sometimes it has got utility value, sometimes it has only got just aesthetic value, just beauty and all that. Yeah. And as we are so engrossed in seeing the painting, or if you want to put the metaphor of a movie, we get so engrossed with the story and the music and the sound effect and all of that, we forget something very, very basic, and that is the screen or the canvas in which it is being projected and painted. Yes or no? Forget it. What do you see when you're seeing a movie? Just the colors, the forms, the movement, the sound, the effect, this, that, and everything. And we totally forget that there's a white screen, a perfectly white screen right behind the whole thing, which is supporting it, which is giving it very value. If that screen was not there, this entire thing would not be possible at all. Is it true or not? Think. And that, what is yoga? Yoga is a way to connect you to that screen, that substratum of our life, the very basis of our entire life. That is called yoga. Have you understood what is yoga? Now the value of yoga? What? What is yoga? Yoga is to unite. Unite what? There is a word called bhoga. What is bhoga? Bhoga is to connect you to the outer world, and yoga is a means to connect you to the... Have you understood the difference? Bhoga and the substratum of life, the very basis of all our experience. That canvas on which this entire play of this world and all our experiences are happening. That is called what? Yoga. Now, how do you connect with that? Very interesting. Therefore, when people say yoga, no, they have a very limited understanding of the word yoga. Yoga is right now used as what? Normally what? Asana and pranayam. And that's about it. Is it true or not? The other anga is forget about that. Yoga, the word yoga has, if you take the Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita and each chapter is called what? Yoga. Anything and everything. Now in this movie is being projected on the screen. Now what connects you to the screen? Are Rama, anything and everything is only projected on the screen. So everything and anything can connect you to that screen. Is it understood? Anything. Even pain can connect you to God or that substratum or that truth or that divinity which is in you. Are you understanding that? And I tell you, actually pain is the best. In fact, I think there is no greater maturer in the world than pain. I don't know whether you agree or not. No one in the world has ever become mature without pain. No one agrees with me? But एकदम शांत થઈ ગયા, एकदम serious થઈ ગયા. I'm telling you. Unfortunately, through pain, two things can happen. Some people break and some people make their life. Unfortunately. I mean, if you can just make your life, pain is the best way. That's why Arjuna Vishad Yoga. Vishad Yoga. Vishad became a means to what? Connect yourself with the truth. There is one place called Puttur in Karnataka. There was an Ajja over there. I don't know how many of you have met him or heard of him. In his life, at one point of time, he had excruciating physical pain, unbearable. And that moment of total pain made him disconnect with his body, and life changed completely in that moment of excruciating and unbearable physical pain. Just disconnected with it, and he went into samadhi. Because the pain was so bad, he couldn't survive with that pain. Just something happened inside and he disconnected with it. So pain becomes a way to what? What? It's not just, there's so many people. Now Arjuna is a classic example. It is, if he had not gone into confusion and all, he would not have connected with God and said, take me out of it. Is it true or not? Dukh mein sumirana sab kare. So pain, anger, pain, anything, any experience of your life can connect you to God. Are you understanding? Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Anything and everything can become a means if you have that type of a attitude. If you have the right guru, if you have the right sanskaras, if you have the right means, every experience is a way to connect to the truth, to the substratum, to God, to that divinity, to that infinity. Are you understanding? You don't need something special or something like that. Okay, you have to stand on your head, then something will happen. No, you don't. Said in the Bhakti Shastra, it says, Kamad, Dveshad, Bhayadvapi, Vairabhavena. Whether it is in Vaira you remember, in revenge you remember God, or you in anger, whichever way. Kaunsa remembered God how? Bolo. Ravana remembered God how? Marich remembered God how? Bhayad. Fear. Anyone, his own name, saying anyone who said, anything with a ra or a ma would scare him. And his name was what? Marich. तो म पण आवे ने र पण तो एનું નામ બોલાય તોય ડરે એને થાય કે આ ભગવાન આવ્યા. Can you imagine how closely he was associated with God all the time, thinking 24 hours of God? And what happened? Bhagwan ran after him. Wow, great guy, isn't it? We run after Bhagwan, never catch him. Here what happened? Bhagwan came after, and if Bhagwan comes after, he'll catch you. Is it true or not? So therefore, karma, it doesn't matter, even negative. But if it's associated with God, what happens? You unite. That's yoga. That's Krodha yoga. Kama yoga. You understand? Anything anything and everything that connects you to something which is superior and higher and greater and elevating and noble is yoga. Is it okay? When you connect with love, it's called bhakti yoga. When you connect through actions, it's called? When you connect through knowledge, when you connect through your chakras, chakra yoga, not chakra yoga, kundalini yoga. Yeah, there are, so, and remember, so which yoga is superior? Now, unfortunately, you in India, now we are Mahapurushas. I am doing Jnana yoga, bhakti. I don't want bhakti. We always feel that what we do is what? Superior and special and higher. And the other is what? Hare Rama. Arjuna asked this question to Bhagavan Krishna. 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Who is better? One who worships you in the Nirguna form or one who worships you in the Saguna form? And what did Bhagavan say? What did he say? He says neither. There's nothing called this is better and this is. One Nitya Yuktaha is the best. What? Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhaktasvam Paryupasate Ye what? Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Yoga Vittamaha. Who is Uttama? In that, Bhagavan says, no, je satat mari sathe yukta hoy e shrestha che. Is that okay? So therefore, please don't go around saying, Saguna, this way of connecting God is superior or Nirgun way is connecting is superior. No, whichever way you connect with God is best, is good. Okay? So all of you can become yogis, okay? Whichever yogi. Swamiji, is there something called Nidra Yoga? There is not Nidra Yoga, there is Yoga Nidra. That is there possible, you can do. So whichever way you can make, and that is what I'm trying to say. In India, yoga was a way of life. You lived your life in such a way that your entire day, from morning to night and from birth to death, was nothing but a way to connect with God. That is the whole way of life was yoga. Let me explain this to you by giving you some couple of examples. I know for those who came to learn about asana and pranayama, this lecture must be saying, आप तो શું વાત કરે છે? અમને તો થયું કે કંઈક આસન માટે કહેશે કે આમ કરો તો આમ થશે ને પેલું કરો તો આમ થશે ને આ કરે તો પાચન શક્તિ વધે ને પેલું કરો તો આનું આ થાય ને અહીંયાથી કફ નીકળે ને પેલાથી આમ કરે. There is enough available in the market and you can get that. How you can make every action of yours into what? Including sleeping. Swamiji, that one I like. You please say that. Other things you forget. This is a good one. See. If, whatever, supposing you have to go catch a flight next day early morning, what happens? The first thought when you get up is what? Is it true or not? So whatever's the last thought you sleep with becomes the first thought when you wake up, right? So therefore, what are we told? Ke raat na ungo tyare, what do you do? Bhagwan naam lene ko hai na. What do you do? I remember this lovely little song, poem, whatever you call it, which we were made to chant as kids before we went to sleep. It's in Gujarati, which I'm sure all of you would understand. It's very simple. Suta saran, bhoy maran, aankhe jala, kane tala, Shri Krishna ji na dwar ugada. What a sweet poem. What a sweet poem. So much of Vedanta is there in that I realized only after studying Vedanta. Okay, when you go to sleep, Suta Saran, Bhoy Maran. What happens? The whole world is, the earth and everything is dead. Nothing, you don't see anything. Aankhe, jhada, no perception. Kane, tala. Even though aankhe jada, kane tala, but Shri Krishna ji na dwar ugada. And as children, we used to imagine Krishna Bhagavan standing there and smiling. So last thought is you smile at Krishna, go to sleep. So the first thing when you get up in the morning, the mother would wake you up saying, Beta Jai Shri Krishna. So you get up saying what? Before you go to sleep, what do you say? Beta Sutasaran bolo, chalo Jai Shri Krishna, Sutasaran bolo, Sutasaran bolo. You understand? The last thought. So what has this become? A way to unite with God. The whole night goes. If you get up in the middle of the night with this bad thought or something, nightmare or this, the mother says, Sutasaran bolya tha. Chalo boli lo pachu. Sutasaran. I hope you're understanding. Swamiji, we are not that child anymore. So Shri Krishna ji now will never see Shri Krishna that way. Because when you're a kid, you actually picturize. I remember very clearly picturizing Bhagwan Krishna and this. Okay, I'm an intellectual, Swamiji. You tell me something which okay, fine, for you. Krishna Dwarugada doesn't appeal to me. Okay, fine. So, what do you do? Each one. Nothing wrong with that, There's nothing superior, inferior. I told you, don't think this is superior, this is inferior. No. Each one has their own way of connecting to God. So how do you go to sleep? Okay. As you go to sleep, you will see that everything else of mind, you're only you and your mind is there, right? Nothing else is there in your mind. And then you say, who is sleeping? Who is the one that's sleeping? I am sleeping. Who is the I that sleeps? I sleep. And as you are sleeping, when you withdraw, you just go to this I. And this I finally drops. When you wake up in the morning, this I. Everything else goes away. I am feeling sleepy. I. Who is the I that's feeling sleepy? I. And as this I is there, drops off, you don't realize what's happening, but you've finished, over, you're fast asleep. When you wake up with the last thought was I thought, the first thought that you get up will be the I thought. Ask, who is this I? From where did it come? This is called the path of inquiry. Your entire sleep will become a meditation. Are you understanding? This is the way of connecting to God. Oh, Swamiji, that's too difficult. Okay, that is too easy, this is too difficult. Now I'll try one more. This is again a bhakti, where you say, okay, Swamiji, I'm a more different type of a person. Okay, this is different type. Supposing you feel, you have bhakti in your heart, you still have love in your heart and all, you feel that your pillow becomes the what? The feet of God. So where do you put your head when you go to sleep? Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Go to sleep. Where will you get up from? From the feet of the Lord. From the embrace of the Lord. From whichever way. It doesn't matter which way you do. You choose your way. I'm just giving you can use your imagination. Because as far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, you can have any relation with God. You understand? You don't have to have a particular bhai che, ben che, lover che, any relate doesn't matter. And you have that and then you go to sleep. Your sleep will become this. There's so many other ways of doing. What I'm trying to tell you is, it's a way of life. Everything that you do. You wake up in the morning, what? Karagre vasate Lakshmi. This is the way. This is you are joining with whom? With these hands may I not do anything which is bad. With these hands may I gain knowledge, may I gain wealth, and may I do something which is noble and connects me with God. What a lovely way to wake up. Are you understanding? Pratasmarami hridisan sfuradatma tattvam satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam nirgun svap. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You understand? Your whole life will become what? Yoga. This is called yoga. Yoga means what? You unite with the higher, with the greater, with the nobler. Right. Ashtanga Yoga is also one way of uniting with the higher. What normally is called yoga is called Ashtanga. And there are 8 limbs to it. Remember, not Asana and pranayam. Unfortunately, the first two are happily forgotten, which are very, very important. Which are the first two? Yama and... Now, all of you are very well versed with all this, so I don't have to say much. But I'll just give you a little bit of understanding, because sometimes what happens, yama, ahimsa, this, but we can say asteya, parigraha, ahimsa, brahmacharya. These 5 yamas are there. The meaning of this yama is, by practicing yama, you start learning to live in harmony with the world. Because ahimsa, if you practice, you have to be in harmony, you become in harmony with the world. You understand? So the first step in being able to unite with the truth, or something which is higher and nobler, which is the infinite self, is what? To learn to live in harmony with everyone else. Are you understanding that? So therefore, yama is a way, by practicing the 5 yamas, you learn to live in harmony with everyone else. Second, you do niyama. Niyama is a way, all the 5 that are there in the tapaha, shaucham, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhana, etc. When you do all these 5, you tune and fine-tune your own self. Is it okay? Your mind and all. So that's the first is what? You tune yourself with the world around you. Then you tune yourself with your own body, mind and intellect. That's this. And after that comes what? What? Asana. Are you understanding? Then comes... Now asana is not an exercise. There's a difference between asana and exercise. Asana is the practice of postures. Please understand that. Normally, what do we say? What do you do in an exercise? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is called what? Now, when does it become an asana? When you do this and you hold it, you hold the posture, then that is called an asana. Have you understood? Nowadays, people also do, yoga. 1, 2, 3, down. 1, 2, 3. Courage का नत करता है इतना बोलो 1 2 1 2 डाउन तो पण आने एक्सरसाइज के आने आसन ना केवाय the siddhant of asana was what? Sthira sukhasanam. Sthira. If you do like that, this is not called asana. It should be sthira. You do little, whatever you can, but it should be sthira and it should be what? Sukha. When people do all some asana, kahin upar niche ne modhu tam bicharan su hai su dukh thatu, then this is not called. Are you understanding? The siddhant should be understood of all these things. Yama. Pachi? Pranayama. Pranayama is so powerful. It can take so much of conserve your energies, vitalize you, revitalize all your organs, make you siddhis. You can't even imagine what each of these, the good effects of all these. Pranayama. And once your prana is in control, to that extent your mind becomes what? Tuned and fine-tuned and subtle. After that they said what? Dharana. Dharana in simple words means concentration. And with a concentrated mind, pratyahar first before that. Pratyahar is what? When can you concentrate? Are Rama. You also tell your children, na, amtem jata, concentrate. Nothing kehta tam. Amtem. स्थिर बेसो 1 मिनट शांत નથી બેસો સ્થિર બેસો સો સી પહેલા શરીરને શાંત કરીએ છીએ પ્રાણને શાંત કરીએ છીએ પછી શું મનને શાંત કરી છે how when you withdraw from everything all these different preoccupations then the mind becomes what ready for concentration so until and when the mind is all over like that how is it going to so pratyahara and then what happens dharana is what concentration. So therefore certain parts of the body are there where the mind becomes quiet easily. Like here. These are very common places where when you put your mind there, the mind becomes concentrated very easily. So that is called dharana, where you bring your mind, put it in a place. I'm talking as per the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. What is there? Then, now interestingly, dharana when you do, see, dharana is not, it's only a form of concentration. After that comes dhyana. After dharana is dhyan. People, when they do concentration, they think they are doing meditation. Arey Rama, that is not called meditation. That is called concentration. Understood? Normally, 99% of the people, when they are doing concentration, they say we are doing meditation. Why? Because they are sitting like that. They are doing like that, and then they are focusing on their breath. So they say, Hame Swamiji, meditation. But this is called concentration. Samajya? Na samajya? I'm telling you, majority of them, when they are doing concentration, they are calling it what? They are only focusing their attention somewhere. Just focusing your attention is called focusing. It's not called meditation. So, that is called dharana. Okay, after dharana, supposing you focused your attention X place, whatever it is, it can be here, wherever it is. You focused your attention there, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to be dhyana. Dhyana is what? Then you think or you understand that infinite source, substratum, self, Atma, or whatever you call, there. Because the mind is now withdrawn from everything, you focused over there, and then over there you do what? Bruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyaka satam purusham. After that tam purusham. You are not going to, after having focused your attention there, you focus it. That dharana is only to bring your mind from here, there, everywhere. Having brought your mind there, you meditate on that Supreme Self. Have you understood that? Bolo, 99% શું કરે? Concentration કરે, બહુ meditation, દરરોજ meditation સ્વામીજી, દરરોજ. સવાર સાંજ. બેઠા. શ્વાસોશ્વાસ જોયા કરે, બસ. બહુ ફાઇન થાય છે meditation, બહુ ફાઇન. Mantra meditation, meditation, te meditation. Meditation, no, as I told you, it's also a product. So, dharana. And once you do dhyana, then what happens? Slowly and slowly. What happens? The thoughts become subtler. They connect with the truth. And then you go into a state of absorption, which we call what? Samadhi. Dhyana. Samadhi also can be Sabija Samadhi and Nirbija Samadhi. These are all technical things, don't worry about them. The whole idea of this is to connect yourself with the infinite. Now, this last part, let's go to this infinite. In the Yoga Shastra, it says what? Atha, Yoga Anushasanam, first sutra. Then Yada, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The complete cessation of all what? Chitta Vrittis. And what? Yada Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam. To be completely absorbed in the drashta, in the seer. That is called yoga, the ultimate purpose of yoga. Okay. This is Yoga Sutras of the Patanjali. Now, don't worry. Now I'm going to explain it to you the way you and I can understand and appreciate. As I told you, experiences are the what? Painting of your life, right? Everything, anything and everything of what you call as life is only an experience as a thought in your mind. Yes or no? Please try to prove the existence of anything other than a thought in your mind. The past, the present, history, any place in the world, anything, any possible thing cannot exist for you except for a thought in your mind. Yes or no? Where does Vimalananda exist? Bolo, bolo. Where does Vimalananda exist? Swamiji, તમે મારી સામે બેઠા. Nah. I exist as a thought in your mind. You take out that thought in your mind, I don't exist for you, right? That's why you feel like killing anyone. That's a very easy method. Don't think of them. Pata, for you he's dead. Got the point? So I mean, very easy to think is that I'm telling you, when you get angry with a person or you feel hate a person, you think more and more. You are only giving life to that person. Are you understanding that? Even though you want him out of the world, you only keep on giving that person life. So, all experiences are what? Bolo, thoughts. Where do thoughts exist? Whose mind? Please remember, your mind. The past also, no, Swamiji, my grandfather and great-great-great-great-grandfather were also there. That time, I was not there. No. You know of them as thoughts in your mind now. Yes or no? So if you didn't have a thought in your mind of your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, for you, he doesn't exist. Agreed? Yes? So everything exists as thoughts in your mind. Is it okay? Everyone? Now, how long do thoughts last? Bolo. Fraction of a second. Before it comes, it's gone. Right? No, Swamiji, the thought comes, for me, this thought is all the time. No. It's gone, it's coming back. Gone, coming back. That's why you say it's there all the time. It's not all the time. Therefore, anyone says, when they fall in love, they say, I think of you 24 hours. That's a complete, total, absolute lie. Never believe them. In the Yoga Shastras and all these others also, they say, if one only thought remains in your mind for 30 seconds, with no other thought, you will go into Samadhi. Has anyone gotten into Samadhi? The very fact, how many other thoughts come? This, and then once in a while that thought comes. So you say, I think 24 hours, not 24 hours. Have you understood that? So thoughts are there. Thoughts are there all the time. And they are fleeting. They come, they go. It's just a dot. It doesn't even, dot is too much. It's just gone before you put a dot. Right? Comes, goes. Thoughts come and go. Right? Who knows all the thoughts? Who knows all? Is it true or not? Thoughts are finite. They come and go. Now, what do the thoughts have? That's interesting. What do thoughts have? Thoughts, thoughts have all the colors and feelings and experiences and everything, perceptions and logic and imaginations and dreams and goals and variety of thoughts. And angers and passion and love and compassion and you name it, and it's all there, right? All of them is what? Nothing but thoughts, right? I'm not going to ask you what are your thoughts right now. All types of thoughts are there? Right. So your entire life in the gamut of where is time and space? The time and space and objects and names and forms and qualities exist all in your mind as thoughts. Right or wrong? Because in the deep sleep state, there is no time, there is no space. Why? Because there are no thoughts. Agreed? So where is time and space? Bolo. In your mind, as what? Thoughts. Now, if you can go beyond your mind, beyond your thoughts, where will you go? Into a timeless, spaceless, objectless, nameless, formless, infinite state. Have you all understood? That is called Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Go into that state. સ્વામીજી બોલવું કેટલું સહેલું છે. I keep talking about this. Yada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Drashtu. દ્રષ્ટાના સ્વરૂપની અંદર વિલીન થવું અને કહેવાય છે યોગ ચિત્તવૃત્તિ નિરોધ. That's the purpose of yoga. Okay? Because my topic is what? Connecting yourself with the infinite. Remember, that's the purpose of yoga. To have good health and all that is the side effects and extra effects. 90% of people are only doing yoga for the side effects and the extra effects and the feel good factor. Yes or no? સ્વામીજી મારું વજન ઉતારવું છે, યોગા કરું, પેટ બહુ વધી ગયું છે. We all, most of them are doing only. My favorite story, anyone who has heard me would have heard this story. There was a person called Amtha Bhai. Have you heard of Amtha Bhai? Those who have heard me have heard of Amtha Bhai. If there's anyone called Amtha Bhai, I'll change the name. અહીંયા કોઈ હોય અમથા ભાઈ તો છે? માફ કરજો, બીજું નામ. So there's an Amtha Bhai. I like that name very much. So Amtha Bhai once thought he was a rat. And he started behaving in a very peculiar manner. The wife said, "What is this?" Gets up in the middle of the night, choo 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 kare. How do you live a man like that? Somehow or the other, and people who are like that, they never think. They think they are fine. And everyone else is wrong. Somehow she persuaded him to go to a psychiatrist and said, "Karo. How do I manage to live with a man like him?" Okay. Then the psychiatrist started his treatment. I said, "How can you be this, a rat? You are Amtha Bhai." He showed a photograph of a rat. I said, "Rat looks like that. See what you look like. Mirror in same. I look different, yeah." Then, rat, his wife looks like that. Rat's wife. And your wife looks like that. There's a difference. Then, rat has ears like that. So it showed this. Then he says, "Yes, what you say is true, but I feel I am." This went on for a long time, 6 months. And at the end of it, Amtha Bhai said, "What? I'm not a rat. I'm..." Psychiatrist is so happy. Ek case to solve thayo. First and only case that I have managed to... Now, he said, "Congratulations, please go and have a great time." So he went very confidently, and in matter of few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, he came running, he came sweating. He says, doctor said, "What happened? You went out so confidently, and what happened to you?" He says, "Doctor, I know I'm Amtha Bhai. There's a big black cat on the other side of the road. Does the cat know that I am not a rat?" What does that mean? That deep in his heart, he still thinks he's what? Now tell me, what is the purpose of the psychiatric treatment? To make him a good, nice, healthy rat? Bolo. What is the purpose of the treatment? To make him feel that he is a best rat in the whole world. To make him feel good factor, feel good factor. What a lovely rat I am. How nice. What is the whole purpose of that treatment? To connect himself with what he actually is. Is it true or not? To connect himself with his true self, not his assumed entity. Is it okay? Right now, we say yoga is for good health. So become a better rat. All of us are like Amtha Bhai. Because our own true nature is what? We are the infinite truth. That is our nature. That is what my true self is. And right now, I'm acting as though I am a limited, finite, helpless, hopeless, miserable creature. You understand? So therefore, yoga is to connect yourself with your Satchidananda Swarup, you call it, your infinite Swarup, you call it, your divinity, whatever name you want to call it. Okay? So the purpose of yoga is what? To become healthy? Wealthy? What? I am not saying you don't become healthy. Because if it's a healthy body and if it is a healthy mind, then you will be able to connect yourself with that highest. Okay. But don't stop at that. That's not the purpose. Okay. The purpose is not that. The purpose is what? Drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. That is the purpose. Okay. The other things are the side effects and the extra effects and the benefits, the in-between benefits. Isn't it true? See, as I am going to something which is this, there are so many, supposing I am preparing for the Olympics. Right? So in between, there are so many things that I get. I may get good health and this, I'll become my stamina increases, all this. These are only what? The other benefits. But the goal was what? To get the gold medal. Are you understanding? In the process, I gained what? Stamina, I gained so many other things, which is good, which is not bad. But that's not the goal. Is it okay? Yes? I mean, you can do it for the sake of stamina, that's okay. You can do yoga, asanas and pranayama for the sake of all the other health benefits and all that. That's okay. But the purpose is what? If you become a better rat, if Amthabai becomes a better rat, there's a very nice saying that even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. Will you remember that? You won the rat race, but you are still a rat. I mean, is that the purpose of yoga? So the yoga purpose is what? Drashtaha swarupe avastha. Okay? Now the very last this, we end because then my time is up as well. Drashta. Who is the Drashta? This is an exercise that I do often and probably done it over here, but anyway, it doesn't matter. How many of you are listening to me for the first time? There's always this new audience, so it's okay. And I'm very sorry to all the other people who are listening to me in other places also. I'm not able to see you, so not really communicate with you, but I hope you are also answering when I'm asking questions. Now, everyone please full attention. Sit up in your chairs if you have to. Right. What is this? You have to answer. How do you know it's a mic? I'm seeing it. Eyes are seeing the mic. There are two principles. Drashta is different from drishya. The seer is different from the seen. Knower is different from the known. The knower can know the known, but the known cannot know the knower. Is it okay? Two principles. The eyes see the mic, but the mic can never see the eyes. Is it okay? Eyes are different from the mic? Yes. How do you know that your eyes are seeing? The mind knows what the eyes see. So when you don't see well, what do you say? Aajkal dekha to nathi barabar. Means what? The mind knows that the eyes don't see well or they see well, right? So the mind is the seer or the knower and the eyes are the seen or the known, right? The seer is different from the seen. The mind knows what the eyes see, but the eyes can never know what the mind thinks, right? The seer knows the seen, but the seen can never know the seer. It is beyond. You understand the meaning of the word beyond? The eyes are beyond the purview of the mic. The mic can never know there is something called a eyes. Is it true or not? It's beyond. Now you understand the meaning of word beyond? Beyond. Pare che. In Gujarati we use the word pare che. Now here, the mind is beyond the purview of the eyes. The eyes will never know. It can see everything under the sun, but it will never be able to see what? Or know the thoughts in the mind. And even though it cannot function without the mind, it can never know the mind. Have you understood this point? It will never be able to. Now, how do you know that your mind thinks? Now, are you understanding what I'm speaking? Yes or no? Even if you say no, it's fine. Swamiji, really speaking, I don't understand what you speak. Very good. You don't understand? Yes, I don't. Who doesn't understand? I don't understand. Very good. So, I know that I don't understand, right? Who knows that you don't understand? I know. Who knows that you understand? I know. So I know that I understand or don't understand. So understanding and not understanding is happening where? Here. So I am the knower of the mind. This is the knower, this is the known. The knower or the seer knows the known, but the known cannot know the knower. That I, which is beyond the mind, is that infinite Atma, Paramatma, divinity. How will you know it? You can't know it with this. You can't know it with this. When this mind itself can't know it, where's the question of the eyes knowing it? You understand? When the mind itself cannot know this, the eyes, which are even what? The eyes can't even know this. Where is the question of the eyes knowing the eye? Got it? So you're never going to be able to see it. You're never be able to going to think it. Then how do you know it? Then it says, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. When the thoughts die away by practice of yoga, then drashtaha swarupe avasthanam. You understand? That is called yoga. How do you connect with that infinite? The total cessation of all thoughts. In that state of meditation, you meet that infinite. Okay? I talked about the yoga method, but I told you any other way is also possible. Through bhakti, through jnana, through any way. And please don't say this way is more superior to that way. Whichever way suits you is best for you. Is it okay? Which shampoo is good? Whichever suits you. Isn't it true? So whichever is the way, and yoga, this is a beautiful thing that our culture gave to us. The Sanatana Dharma gave to us a beautiful way of living. Are you understanding? A beautiful way of living when every moment of your life can be connected to the Supreme Truth, to the highest. And that's why yoga is a way of life and is a way of tuning yourself with the infinite. Thank you very much. Hari Om and Namaskar.